Hi, everybody. My name is Jim Brogan. When my wife and I first got married, she wanted a child so bad. And she was so happy when she finally got pregnant. And we found out the gender of the child. It was a girl. And we picked out a name for her. And I read to her every night. And my wife said she could recognize my voice because she would jump every time she heard my voice and start doing flips and dancing in her belly. And we were so happy. And then one night I was taking a college course, mandatory course, continued training, and I got a phone call. It was my wife. She was crying. She was in the hospital. The baby hadn't moved all day and they couldn't hear a heart. They couldn't find a heart. Even though it meant I was going to fail the course and have to retake it, I rushed out and went to the hospital to be by her side. And I was there 3 hours before the doctor finally came in and announced very solemnly, the baby was dead. There was nothing they could do. And several hours later, they induced labor and took out a stillborn child. And we saw that the problem was the umbilical cord had gotten tied in a knot. All her bouncing and moving around and flipping and flopping, she had tied the cord into a knot, and then it had gotten tighter and tighter and tighter until it completely cut off all blood flow to her. So she had no oxygen, she had no nutrition, she had no way to continue living, and she died. Had we known that there was a problem before, had we known that there was a problem before the heartbeat stopped, they could have taken her out, saved her life. She was far enough along that there was a good possibility that they could have put her in an incubator and she might have survived. And there were a few things that were not fully developed, but for the most part, she was whole, and it was possible. Other children at that age have been saved, but they didn't know. They couldn't know, and it was way too late by the time we did know. So they induced labor, and they took her out. And we mourned and we cried over our baby girl. We took pictures. And we had a funeral. And we got a death certificate. We couldn't get a birth certificate because she was never born. And that was an abortion. At 6 months of pregnancy, my wife had an abortion. Yes, the child was dead. No, there was nothing we could have done. We did not kill our child. But the removing of that child from my wife's womb was an abortion. The taking of a child from the womb is an abortion, even if the child is already dead. Even a miscarriage is a form of abortion. The medical term for a miscarriage is a spontaneous, Abortion. At another time in my life, I might have been part of the pro-life movement. But I have lived a long life. I have seen many, many, many sad things. And I have learned that things are not always as simple as we would like them to be. An abortion ban that bans all abortions, no matter what, all forms of abortion, all abortions, no matter what, right from the jump, is criminal. It's sinful. It would have forced my wife to carry this dead fetus in her belly for another 3 months, possibly killing her. It would put women in jail who have miscarriages, who lose a child they desperately wanted. The right wants you to believe that the left wants to kill perfectly viable, good babies all the way up until they can be born. And even after. Republicans love to tell the biggest lies. It's like they're trying to win a lying competition. I caught a whale in a puddle in my backyard using my kid's fishing pole. Come on, people. Representative Jim Jordan stated recently, Democrats have the radical position. They're the ones who think you should be able to take the unborn child's life right up until their birthday. For goodness sake. And they had a governor in Virginia just a few years ago who said even after that fact, you could take the life of a child. Even after they're born? It's not even abortion anymore. Let me tell you. That's not a thing. It never has been. Nobody on the left, nobody, no sane people in this country want to kill a child after it's born or take it out of the mother's womb and kill it when it's perfectly capable of surviving on its own outside the mother's womb. In fact, that's not even legal. Never has been. Roe versus Wade didn't make that legal. Nothing would make that legal. Once a child can survive outside the womb, it is a living being. They don't take a child out that when they take it out, it can breathe and its heart's beating and it starts to cry and kill it. That's not a thing. Never has been. Never would be. That's a lie. A lie told by fanatics who want you to sympathize with their cause and don't care what lies they have to tell to make you sympathize with their cause. I have never been for abortion. I never will be. I would never advocate aborting the life of a child that could survive, that I could not participate in. But things are not as simple as you would like them to be. Things are not as simple as I would like them to be. Life is complicated. Things happen. And sometimes choices have to be made that are really, really hard and really, really painful, but they have to be made. Like when a doctor informs a mother that your child is going to be born with a birth defect that will kill them within hours of dying, within hours of being born. But during those hours of life, they will be in absolute excruciating agony. And you are the parent. And you have to decide, should you take the fetus out or let it come into this world for just a few hours of agony? Does the state really, does the government really have the right to take that choice away from you, to force upon you, no matter what you've been through in your life, no matter how much you or how little you can bear to stand anymore because of what you've already endured, to force upon you the decision that you will carry that child, you will give birth to that child, you will watch it scream and writhe in agony for hours until it finally dies. Is that really the choice of the government? The left makes the argument that it's my body. Okay. The right makes the argument that that's an individual life from conception. Okay. I'm not going to argue with either one of those. I'm not. I'm going to make a different argument. I'm going to make the argument that whether or not a woman brings a child into the world is her own damned business. If that child can survive on its own, when they take it out, they don't kill it. If she doesn't want it, it goes up for adoption. No ethical doctor even would take it out after 6 months when it can be put in an incubator and survive. Abortions after 6 months are not a thing. The only time late-term abortions are performed, abortions after the fetus would normally be viable and able to come out on its own and live on its own, maybe with the help of an incubator or something, is when the child has a severe defect. And the doctors find out about it and inform the parents. Your child may live until birth, maybe a few hours or even a few days afterwards, but they're going to be in absolute excruciating agony. Do you want to watch your child writhe in agony and pain for a couple of hours or a couple of days until they die? Other cases are the child does die in the womb, like Giera did. They take the child out so that the mother doesn't have to carry around a dead baby in her belly. And some cold, heartless people may go, "Whoa, why not let it stay in the belly? What feelings could you possibly have for a child that just died in your stomach?" Or, we'll leave it there, God might perform a miracle and bring it back to life, There's all kinds of stupid answers to this. I don't have time to retort all of the stupidity that I've heard in my lifetime. The bottom line is the decision is the mother's. If she's still with the father may have some input in this, but bottom line is the person who has to live with it, the person who cannot escape it, is the mother. And nobody should be telling the mother what she should or shouldn't do in those circumstances. If she seeks counseling from a priest or a preacher, if she seeks counseling from her family or a family therapist, wonderful. But the state should not step in and say, we don't care about your feelings. We don't care about what you're going through. We don't care about anything other than the fact that you, by law, have to carry that fetus to term. That's wrong. Anybody with a conscience knows that's wrong. I don't know what a person is going through. You don't know what a person is going through. You don't know if there's rape involved, incest, other things. The number of horrors that exist in this world are just more than I can list in a short video, more than I could list in a day-long or 3-day-long video. This world is full of horrors. And there are all kinds of circumstances people go through. And the decision whether or not to carry a child is the woman's decision. No one else's. The same strict interpretation of the Bible that the right wants to go by, saying that this is a life from the moment of conception, would make masturbation illegal, fellatio illegal, sodomy illegal, even pulling out before ejaculation would be illegal. These are sins in the Old Testament of the Bible, and these are things that these fanatics would make illegal. They also, without any regard to the Bible, would make interracial marriages illegal. They would make my marriage illegal. These extreme views cannot be allowed to run this country. We cannot allow extremists, terrorists to run our country. These people are simply a Christian version of the Taliban. They're no better. If you are afraid of Sharia law, if you are scared to death of Sharia law, believe me, what these people would impose is stricter than any Sharia law. It is the strictest interpretation of the Bible. And Sharia law is real close to biblical law. I mean, let's not say close. It is. Sharia law is biblical law. It's no different. It really isn't. So if you don't want fanatics running this country, you need to vote Democrat. You may not approve of everything the Democrats do. You may not be for the Democratic agenda. But let me tell you, We are on the verge of losing our freedom. In fact, in a democracy, let's be honest, every vote could be our last free vote. Every time we go and we vote for someone who has authoritarian attitudes, who thinks that they should be a dictator, not a servant to the people, we risk losing our freedom. Right now, the Democrats are the only ones holding the fort. The Democrats are the only ones protecting freedom. The Democrats are the only ones standing up for the people. You have to vote Democrat. I don't care if you've been a lifelong Republican. I don't care how staunchly conservative you are. Now is the time. You need to vote for freedom. You need to vote for Democrats. With that, thank you. God bless you. God be with you always.